New at 6 tonight, a man arrested in the death of his son makes an appearance in court on amended charges. Devin Bemis now facing a charge of first-degree murder after initially being charged with 2 counts of child abuse. Court documents say Bemis allegedly abused his son Grayson and another child under the age of 6 back in January. Grayson died a few months later in April. An obituary says he was only 5 months old. Bemis will be back in court next month.